and the weak are doomed.
Sometimes the best way to fix a problem is to face it head on.
Just remember, my boy, it will end better than today.
Den Zugangsdaten eingeben.
The year is 1961. Nazi Germany's victory during World War II now places them in full control of the United States. And it's not good. Wolfenstein 2 runs at a mostly consistent 60 FPS on PS4 while maintaining a really polished art style, and there's like 8 games that do that, so it's a pretty big deal. Another big deal is the dedicated lean button, which allows for varying degrees of side-to-side movement and even vertical functionality. This lean works and feels so good that its absence in other shooters became very obvious to me. It's got some issues. It's got some issues, but its inclusion is one of the best parts of the experience. The core of the game, though, is weapons. I have divided these weapons into 3 categories: stealth, action, and super action. In stealth, we have the hatchet. Great for violent close quarters action and can be thrown for an instant kill. The pistol can be fitted with a suppressor and instant kills with a headshot, which apparently really hurts. But you know what's better than a suppressed pistol? 2 suppressed pistols.
Fisher.
The machine pistols are great when dual wielded, and with an integral suppressor and hot nail gun option becomes my favorite stealth weapon ever. Mostly because it's hard to use with its really long travel time. In action, we have the Sturm, an assault rifle with armor-piercing rounds and a DMR mode that makes quick work of big and small enemies, making it your Brot und Butter. The Shockhammer is a triple rotating barreled shotgun, which is absolutely brutal when dual wielded. There's also a ricochet option if you like shooting enemies you can't see. The Diesel Kraftwerk fires explosive globs which can be detonated at will, and even latches onto enemies without their knowledge, making it a great fight opener. And the Laser Kraftwerk is a laser firing weapon that turns enemies into particles. Both weapons can be refueled at wall-mounted stations, which seem to be unlimited, so once you find one in a combat zone, the experience ends up being The weird thing about these 2 weapons is that you can only choose between one by choosing whether Fergus or Wyatt gets to live, and the game doesn't tell you that you're choosing between these 2 weapons. I have no idea why you would want the player to not know about one of these options, but what do I... Super action weapons are a little extreme. They can be picked up from enemies or ripped from emplacements, like the laser which turns cover and walls into the best particle effect in gaming.
Holy Jesus.
You can't take these very far, but they're definitely worth using for the short time you have them. In the character department, we have BJ Blazkowicz, our protagonist and playable character who spends the first half of the game dragging down the story with his low, mumbled ramblings.
Nothing to get worked up over, old man. You left the vacuum too great. Because
Then we have Caroline. Shit. Then we have Caroline's head. Fuck. Our villain is Irene Engel, who is just an evil bitch. Sigrun is Engel's daughter turned resistance fighter who I can best describe as
misunderstood since birth. Fuck what you think and fuck what you heard.
Okay, I get it. You're not a Nazi.
My favorite character has to be Super Spesh. He's something.
Off with the mask. Show me your lizard face, motherfucker.
Then there's Anya, BJ's pregnant girlfriend and complete badass.
Little Miss Constantinople, modified and totally fine. Imperial legendary lover. Oh, want a medal for sure. Yeah, I bet that she got more heavy feminine artillery undercovers.
We also have a Stamp Licker, Wild Robot, Arm Guy, Stereotype, and Max Haas. I don't want to detail the entire story's plot, but I do want to talk about a particularly kick-ass section. So there's this part where BJ goes back to his childhood home where his abusive father is waiting, and there's this great build-up to what should be a cathartic moment that was completely ruined by a playable section.
Was a time I was scared of you. Was a time I'd have pissed myself, had a gun pointed at my head. You know what I feel right now? Not a goddamn thing.
Then BJ buries the hatchet with his father, and the house gets picked up by these claws, and you have to release the house only to fall really far. You didn't think this one out, BJ.
Why did I come here?
Then you get captured, and Super Spesh comes to break you out.
It was space aliens, man.
Oh, shit!
Then there's this trial, and you break yourself free, and you start a shootout. But it was just Daydream, and Engel executes you with a sword and drops your head into a fire pit.
When you try your best, but you don't succeed. When you get what you want.
But wait, your team was there to catch your head and put it in a jar. And then they attach it to a stolen super soldier body, and you're good.
What the fuck?
This is where you're given the choice between 3 contraptions that allow for different types of level traversal. On my first playthrough, I chose the extendo legs, mostly so I could grab a heavy weapon and scream. On my second playthrough, I got the ramshackles, which allow you to bust through certain walls, doors, and people.
You're up against the wall, and I am the fucking wall.
The third option lets you sneak through stuff, I don't know. The limitation to just one contraption really bothers me. Most of these sections that require contraptions have all the options right in the same spot. Speaking of levels, it feels like the visuals and set pieces were designed first and the level design took a back seat. It's not bad, but it definitely could have been better, and there's some cool ideas here. Like when taking over this train, you can go full tilt.
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm.
Or stop it normally. There's also a part where you get to ride a Panzerhund and set dudes on fire. Oh, and you eventually go to Venus.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Yes, so hot in fact that you have to regularly fill up your suit with snowflakes just to avoid burning out. Oh, that's hot. Oh, it's hot. And how could I go this long without mentioning the music? No, dude, you're doing it wrong. Doom 2016 composer Mick Gordon did most of the tracks here, and they are great, but the volume is way too low. So instead of this, you get... But Mitch, why don't you just turn down the game audio? Oh, I never thought about that, except you fucking can't.
Oh wait, you serious?
When I first played Wolfenstein 2, I did not like it. Okay, but upon playing it months later, I realized how wrong I was. There are still some issues I have, like the melee and throw hatchet functions being mapped out to the same button.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
for the 8 minutes of unskippable cutscenes at the start.
Caroline.
But Wolfenstein 2 is still a solid shooter with a well-rounded story and a top-notch soundtrack that deserve my full attention, and I'm so happy it convinced me so.